For some reason, there's two mics showing, and only one has audio. But we did a bunch of tests on this yesterday. Everything went well. So now, it's a lot of, I'm telling us to be, what's the word that I wrote down here in my notes? What did I write? Let me find it. Because I like the way I said it. I'm cautiously suspicious, okay, as we should be, about all things that affect our freedom and civil liberties, especially when there's a profit to be made and one group of people can exert control over another group of people and limit our freedoms. I'm concerned profiteers, okay, in this situation. One is I don't know if you've seen this wild proposal of revenue replacement, okay, is what they're calling it, where the government would give handouts to corporations, all the money that they're losing, and the companies would just, wouldn't have to do any business, because their business is shut down, but they'd still be able to pay their employees. So whatever profits they were making before, they continue making those profits, even though they're not doing any business. But the employees would get paid, but the companies would keep all this money. Fascinating. And we're stupid enough to fall for that. Where, but if you see more people are going toward this economic stimulus of giving $1,000 to each American. It would be each tax-paying American, by the way. It would come out to people who fill out tax returns. That's where the money would be mailed to. So if you've moved since your last tax return, you got to update your address with the IRS. Now, notice that when we're in a serious problem, right, they realize that the real economic stimulus is putting more money into the hands of the average person that's going to want to spend that money and stimulate the economy. Okay, there's no doubt that that's how that works. You know what? I know what was wrong there. I bet no. Okay, all right. My mic flipped over. Maybe I was a little over. Okay, I'm working on a lot of stuff here, guys. Okay. Now, they realize that in reality, the way to stimulate the economy is for the average person to have more money in their pocket. That's the way to stimulate the economy. Not to give tax breaks to the rich and the big companies, and then that money trickles down. Right, because they're not proposing. Now that we know, hey, they'll propose that when they want to steal some money. But when they see we're in real trouble, what kind of proposals and solutions do they suggest and want to incorporate? Socialist. When capitalism fails, they want to turn to socialist solutions, real socialist solutions, which would be national health care, nationalizing certain industries. Like, this, right in World War II, okay, when we needed more ships and tanks, okay, we nationalized the steel industry. Made them start building ships and stuff like that. Same thing should be taking place here now. Instead of throwing all this different money, okay, worrying about an economic stimulus for this person and that person, and all companies ripping us off, is let's nationalize all these hospitals and respirator companies, right, and start building more of this equipment that we need. Pour that same amount of money into fighting this disease, if that's really the problem, okay, then let's put our money toward that, not worry about the saving the economy that's caused by this disease. If we cure the disease, all these other problems cure themselves, right? So we work on that. Now, so it makes you wonder what's really the motivation behind all this is. Like here in Florida, they're closing the beaches, where like obviously, to be out in the sun and the fresh air by the water is good for your health. Not being cooped up in your home with other people, or this bizarre where the only places people are in contact with each other are at these supermarkets. These poor supermarket checkout people, okay, are there. They're designated mandatory workers now. They can't quit. They can't ask for a raise. They can't. They're there's a state of emergency. They're forced to be there now. They can't quit. They can't. And they got every single person walking through their line there. They're in contact with everyone. Why they're not wearing gloves and masks, I don't know. And why they're not constantly wiping down that counter, I don't know. But just think, too, And what are the other ones too? The fast food workers now, because part of the solution here is that when they start shutting down all these businesses and stuff like that, is they keep the drive-through windows open. So we're gonna have them in there like slaves cooking for us, and we're gonna be driving through that, picking up our meals, and Amazon's gonna be delivering to us, right? Like Bezos doesn't see a way to make money on all this. Bezos, whatever it is. But isn't it interesting that the same people right now that are keeping this whole ship afloat, right? The actual life preservers of this Titanic are who? Minimum wage workers, fast food workers that keep you fed, and fast food checkout and supermarket checkout people all making minimum wage. And just a few months ago, nobody, let them get a job, let them get an education, get a better job. And now they're essential workers. We can't live without them. How do you feel? How do you feel about yourself? You know? I don't know. Now, a couple of things that have me cautiously suspicious, okay, is Mr. Trump's behavior. Now, you got to watch these press conferences he's giving from beginning to end, because there is not one that does not end without him totally melting down, okay? So, what's going on with that? Who's really, is there any leadership, any competent leadership working on this at all? Because when you turn on your TV set and watch it, you don't see it, right? But on the other hand, we've been getting these alerts on our cell phone. Hey, all the beaches are closed. Hey, you gotta be no more than 10 people. And by the way, the word is out that things are in the cahoots in the next 48 hours and so. Google it. I think you can just Google 48 hours at this point, and it comes up. People are talking about it. People with military families seem to be aware of certain things. Now, but the thing is, okay, so are we dealing with complete incompetency, or is that what they want us to think? Because remember in 2012, they came up with this wireless emergency alert, the WEA, where they could, and everybody was worried about it at the time, said, well, the White House can talk directly to everybody's cell phone at the same time, send out a message to everyone. And you can't stop it. There's no way to stop this instant text message. It's in 2012. So they were aware in 2012 that something this big might happen, that we'd need something like that, because they're using it every 5 minutes now. So what is it? Is it incompetence, or is some of this was kind of waiting for some kind of crisis to come and take advantage of it? We see the kind of man Mr. Trump is, pure greed, selfish ambition, never willing to miss an opportunity to advance his own interest. Is he the kind of person who would use this kind of crisis to call off the election? It's already interfered with the Democratic primary. If there's, like people say, the National Guard is being called out, it's a state of emergency, couldn't he say, well, listen, we can't have an election, and we're going to postpone it? How do you feel about that? Now, when I talk about these, and by the way, when I come on here and I talk about these things, it's at great risk. I'm not some YouTube kook. Okay? But what do I do? I got to tell you what I'm thinking. And when I see something that concerns me, I think I have a duty to tell the audience. One thing that really made me feel uneasy last night, I'm watching this TV show, Live PD, right? And you watch the show, it's pretty much a PR advertisement for a police state, where, they show you, right, how they target people, and they pull them over and they start searching their car and stuff like that, and they try and pin them with everything they can. And they're searching their car on camera, and they hold up dildos they found, and the guys, flagrantly humiliating people and violating their rights right in your face, right? And on Skype, bad video and cheesy bedroom sets. Now, why would they have to do that if they have the technology to have a two-man film crew out in the street following these cops around in the car? Oh, they can run it down, and they can film all that live and broadcast it live. Why couldn't they send those two guys over to the house? Keep them 6 feet away, 8 feet away. Everybody gets tested, gelled down, and sprayed before you walk into contact with each other. Why can't they do that? Of course they could. They could even do it and have a robot cameras in the person's house. Broadcast quality. Same mic. Cheaper, by the way, than running one of those studios. Than running a studio. Now, I tell you this because I have a little experience in this. I was on, I think it was Nightline or 2020, one of those shows, and they wanted me to be the internet. It was about a bunch of nonsense. It was what it's goofy things. They get involved. But I was going to be the internet PI. And, I said, well, how do you want to film this? Well, you want me to go down there at the, where was it? Oh, boy, it's been so long since I've been in Vegas. But they used to have these remote studios you would go down to. And I said, no, we want you to do this over Skype because you're the cutting-edge internet guy. So, I didn't even know how to use Skype. I had to set it up, and broadcast over Skype to this, and they used it. Because they had a storyboard. They had an image they wanted to present to the public. So for some reason, Live PD wants to present this image that that they're acting on the fly and having to broadcast out of people's houses. Why is it? It's relatable to us? Whatever it is. It's definitely a gimmick, Is it a harmless gimmick? Or is there something to it? But it's a gimmick. That's 100% sure. Now, you also got people, too. I even hate to get into all this. But this whole business about the people who are fans of QAnon and have been reporting that kind of nonsense for the past couple of years are now trying to tie this in. Somehow that's this is all part of that plan. There's a whole group of people that have been urging on martial law and a coup d'etat in this country, government control and military control of the government, with this theory that somehow it will bring an end to elite pedophilia and elite groups of child molesters, okay, and in Hollywood and in government and all this kind of stuff. And somehow Trump is leading this pack, And this is tied into that, okay? This is just a front smokescreen for what's really going to happen. There's all these sealed indictments, and they're about to arrest all these people and bring them to Gitmo. They're going to bring 3 million people to Gitmo and hold trials down there. Tribunals. This is what a lot of people are saying on their YouTube channels and 4chan and all kind of stuff. And a lot of people are hearing and believing. A lot of people that are normal otherwise. Where do you start with something like that, We're in a horrible period of time where we are in a serious crisis. There's, gonna be National Guard on the street. There is business shutdowns. There's forced. There's gonna be crime. There's gonna be looting. When people have no income and they need things, and there's panic buying, there's gonna be additional crime. Just stress-related crime in the home. Just road rage crime in the street. Basic stuff. When, the drug dealers can't get out and deal their drugs to their customers, there's going to be a lot of sick people, a lot of people in trouble, shortages. There's going to be a lot of problems ahead of us here. You can't get around that. And if we have a significant segment of the population knowingly spread rumors, gossip, fake news, false stories, conspiracy theories, and hoaxes. And even after you correct them, you show them it's a hoax. It's still the sentiments, So, and we're at a time right now where we really need the truth. or we need sober facts. Well, we need,